It's another day, TGIF edition of Good Morning Anambra, and we gladly welcome you to the show. My name is Chidimma Oramwa.
And I'm Ajuluchuku Okabwe.
All right, today we're starting the show with the stories on the national dailies, but first we'll start with ABS website. But we're taking a short break now. When we come back, we'll go straight and tell you what the papers are saying this morning. Stay with us. All right, well, welcome back to the show, and we're starting with ABS website this morning. The first story we have on our website is women, youth farmers in Anambra receive rice production equipment, crèche furniture under VCDP-AF. All Anambra Community Plastic Waste Recovery Challenge 2.0 launched in Awka. And then Indian firm present draft of Anambra State Mixed Use Industrial City Master Plan for validation. These are the stories we have on our website this morning. Women, youth farmers in Anambra receiving rice production equipment, crèche furniture under VCDP-AF. I think this is a welcome development.
Very.
We are all talking about agriculture.
Yeah.
This is a good step in the right direction. And I feel it's going to help the youth and the women, all those farmers, to boost their production. Yes, this year. So I think this is a very good one coming from VCDP-AF. Kudos to them. And then the second story is talking about All Anambra Community Plastic Waste Recovery Challenge 2.0 launched in Awka. Yeah, I remember when the first one took place in Awka, all the plastics we are taking off the streets. Both the one that you see at the waterways, the gutters and all that. So I think launching the 2.0, it's quite a good step in the right direction. But the question is, why do people always like littering the environment with all this plastic? You see somebody inside a vehicle, moving vehicle, after eating whatever, he or she will just just throw it away from the car, and you'll be wondering what is going on. Yesterday I was in a shuttle bus going to somewhere. So some people were eating our normal, the one we call African salad. So the driver was busy telling them, after eating that, make sure you dispose it, or make sure you throw that in away. Because the car wash I went to the other day, they charged me 3,500. I was like, sir, you need to have something like
a waste bin,
inside
in the vehicle.
Your vehicle, so that if anybody eats anything, they will just drop it. Well, unfortunately for him, those people, after eating, they dropped it inside the vehicle. And when all of them came down, he started shouting. I told them, are you going to go to their house to rescue them? So how do you expect a normal human being, after eating, you want the person to throw it
out? Of course, it doesn't make sense. So
I think we need reorientation on how to, carry ourselves out when we are going around with our daily activities. We don't need to be, doing these things all the time. We need to tell ourselves the truth and then encourage ourselves to keep our environment clean and all that. So let's also see what we have in the papers this morning. The first paper.
Let us, because of want of time, we'll take a couple of papers and then get going. The first paper for review this morning is the Daily Times, and the banner headline is talking, Tinubu to governors, federal government ready to provide needed support to ensure Nigerians are relieved of hardship. And the writer says, tax governors on food security. States must work together to deliver on critical reforms. And we have there at the mast, federal government committed to prosperity of MSMEs. MSMEs, that's coming from the Vice President, Shettima. Federal government assures workers of better minimum wage, that you can find on page 4. Federal government stakeholders unite to end child labor in Nigeria. And don't stay abroad to destroy Nigeria, Army advises Nigerians. NAS extends implementation of 2023 Appropriation and Supplementary Act to December 31st. The rider there says, no request for new presidential plane, but we'll consider it. We'll consider if it comes. That's coming from the Senate. Unijust also insists IPPIS is a scam. Tax government on improved welfare. And quickly, let's see what the Punch has. Our federal government rolls out 1 trillion palliative massive construction project, 3.7 million families to get 540 billion naira grant, 155 billion for assorted foods. Orders federal government to begin massive road rail construction, CNG buses distribution in states and federal capital territory. And then we have our federal government raises fresh 284 billion as T-bills debt hit 10 trillion. And then we also have our probe begins as ex-Conga CEO allegedly jumps to death in Lagos apartment. We have states should negotiate minimum wage. That's coming from Southern governors. And then we have at the mast here, NNPC to boost economy with $4 billion gas projects. Also at the mast of the Punch newspaper, cholera, government eyes vaccine donations as cases hit 1,579. Blackmail can't stop new presidential jet approval. That's coming from the Senate. Quickly, let's see what we have on the Vanguard newspaper. Minimum wage. Let each state negotiate with what it can pay. That's coming from governors. Wow. I don't see how that will work anymore, but let's see how it goes. Tinubu, that's the riders now. Tinubu, next silent on minimum wage. Public-private workers getting restive over delayed minimum wage. That's coming from the Labour. Want Labour leaders to push for quick resolution. Lament hardship becoming unbearable with basic necessities no longer affordable. We are not happy with Tinubu's slow motion. That's coming from Sanu. How democracy activists made mistake of a lifetime in 1999. That's coming from Shehu Sani. Tinubu approves 50,000 grants, 155 billion food package for households. Swan, Imam at war over Hajj. Army promotes first female officer, Oluchukwu, trained in Sandhurst to lieutenant. And that's all we have on the pages of the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, we've been joined by analysts this morning in the person of Ejike Abata. Ejike Abata is a public affairs analyst, and we're glad to have you on the show this morning. Welcome to Good Morning Anambra Press Review.
Good morning, and glad to be here.
All right, we've read out what we have at the front pages of the Daily Times, Punch, and Vanguard newspaper.
Yeah.
So, AJ, which one would you want us to look into? About federal government rolling out
1 trillion palliative, you understand? And then targeting 3.7 million families to get 40 billion as grants. And then you begin to ask yourself, sincerely speaking, how did we get here? That's my own question. It is not enough for us to say, hurrah, that the government is coming to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians. Sincerely speaking, I'm not an advocate of sharing piecemeal to Nigerians. Sincerely speaking, it doesn't cut the mustard seed. It doesn't in any way help. Because whatever federal government share, because I heard here 50,000 naira, it can't even buy you a bag of rice. So where do we go from here? So federal government saying that they are coming to share 540 billion as grants to Nigerians. Sincerely speaking, it's not going to help Nigerians. If that money can be properly invested in infrastructure, trying to end insecurity in the northern part of the country where most of the food that we eat in this country is being grown. Fight insurgency so that farmers can go to farm without fear of any molestation or even death. Then you begin to talk about power, energy, refineries to work, so that by the time the refineries are working, the cost of fuel, which happens to be the reason why most of the things are very expensive. The tomatoes that the plant in the north, bringing it down here, the price triples because of what? The cost of transportation. And then you talk about road infrastructure. So if government comes out to say, let us tackle 3 or 4 of these issues, and then let's see how the economy will improve, then Nigerians can say, whatever you give to us would have effect on our lives, if there will even be any need to give anything, any handout to Nigerians.
All right, well said. Ejike, what's your own opinion? Because this appeared in the 3 papers that we read out this one. I mean, it's like the banner headlines. In front page of the Daily Times, they're saying federal government ready to provide needed support. The needed. Is this what we need as a country right about now?
Okabwe must have said it all.
No, what's your own opinion?
It took time to analyze and I see the passion in his voice. It's unfortunate. The question he asked was, how did we get here? We got here when we started electing, either electing or people imposing themselves, people who do not have the ideologies or the ideas of how to move our nation forward. That was how we got here. We got here when people decided to take power, and when they took power, they never knew what to do with the power. That was how we got here. We got here when people, government officials, went to a market prior to election and began to give out 10,000 naira to market women. That was how we got here. And now you are talking about giving money in form of palliative. The ones in the past, how has it fared? You know, when you bring out a policy, there are pilot stages. You know, you monitor and review how have we fared before you go ahead with either improving on that policy or jettisoning it to another one. But it seems we are in a ship without a captain, and obviously the ship is likely to hit an iceberg. So putting money into the hands of people, just like Okabwe said, this money, what we need is a systematic solution, not an immediate or short-term solution. No, we need a systematic solution. Use this money for God's sake. We do not have industries in Nigeria. It wasn't like this in the past. We used to have the textile mills. We used to have the refineries. We used to have even Ajaokuta steel. That is even another problem. People wake up in the morning and go to work at Ajaokuta. At the end of the month, they are paid salaries without producing anything, for God's sake. The same thing with the refineries we have. People go to work and you pay them every month for not producing anything. And we want to move ahead as a nation. It is not possible. So it's not a matter of giving 50,000 naira to 50,000 naira for what? What will 50,000 naira buy today? So it really does not make sense. It shows clearly that the government in power does not have an iota of what needs to be done, or they do know, but they have vehemently refused to do it, because even oppositions have begun to preferring solutions and ideas, but because of political affiliations, they've refused to heed any of them. So that's the problem. It's not about giving us 50,000 naira. What for?
Okay, you also, support the idea from the state governors that this minimum wage we've been talking about for a very long time, we've not agreed on anything yet, that states should negotiate what they can pay.
It is not the proper thing to do. If we talk about minimum wage, it should be across board. Minimum wage should be minimum wage. Except that if you are saying we'll pay minimum wage, then we'll negotiate and see how much we can add. Let's always remember we're talking about minimum, because some of these governors are saying we cannot pay. We are not even saying you must pay whatever amount is agreed. There is room for you to even pay more. So we're saying states should, you see, when you vie for power and you get into power and it seems what you expected is not what you are seeing, resign honorably and leave. Let another person come in. It's a matter of putting structures in ground, putting facilities on ground that will generate this revenue. You mustn't go to the market and chase hawkers who are selling wares less than 2,000 naira on their head, chasing them around, market women who are under scorching sun and rain, and selling tickets to them, or motorists, commercial motorists, chasing them around, sometimes that leads to accidents. There are things that needs to be done for this money to flow in, rather than chasing people about. You shouldn't be taxing. If you put in facilities so that when people are paying the tax, you know they are obligated to do so. You shouldn't seem as if they are being forced or coerced to pay the tax. So, negotiating according to, no, it shouldn't be like that. We are talking about this, it's a national issue. There should be a flat rate for every state to pay. Then whichever states that thinks they have more than enough can then begin to add to whatever.
Yeah, that means federal government should have a benchmark.
There should be a benchmark.
So if you want to add extra based on the extra revenue you generate from the state.
Edo State is paying 70,000
already, when it has not even been concretized.
As Edo State is paying 70,000. So why there should be a benchmark? They shouldn't say state. If not, some states will go ahead to pay 18,000 naira as we speak. Even some states are not even paying the 30,000 yet. Some will still stick on that 18,000 and say this is what we can be able to pay.
So now, in this case where some states are now paying 18,000, you understand, instead of the 30,000 naira, you understand? So what do you think the federal government, or what body or organization do you think can step up and now say, mandate these state governors to pay this? That's if they actually can generate the funds in order to pay this money.
There's no way you can mandate them except you go through the courts. It's only the court that can mandate. And unfortunately for us in Nigeria, we are in a country where court judgments are violated and nothing happens. That is the fact. Court judgments are, so even if you go to the court and court say, this is how much you should pay your workers, some governors will still not pay, and heaven will not collapse.
Well, before we go to the next paper for review, there's still a caption here that really, really draws an attention of, I don't even know how to put it, from the Senate president, or rather the Senate. Blackmail can't stop new presidential jet approval.
That's what we have in front page of Punch.
Yeah.
The front page of Daily Times are saying that NAS extend implementation of 2022 Appropriation Supplementary Act to December 31st. No request for new presidential leave, but we consider if it comes.
So just imagine, in a country where and the amount they are vetting out to acquire this presidential jet
is approximately 1 trillion.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah, 900 something billion.
So now, for both the president and the vice, and the last administration had 6. You understand?
Yeah, they actually have 12, 6 aeroplanes, 6 helicopters.
Okay. I'm talking about the jets. You understand? 6. And out of those 6, they say 3 are very, very in bad shape. In bad shape. And we heard that was it in 3 months or in 6 months? Correct me if I'm wrong. 185 billion was used in maintaining this aircraft. And for Christ's sake, AGK,
does it mean that has been damaged?
They won't repair.
And they now want to sell it out and buy new ones.
Yeah, that's what they said, that they want to scrap.
So they want to sell 3.
3.
According to reports yesterday.
Yeah. And replace it
with new ones. See,
why do we need like
6
jets, 6 aeroplanes just for the president
and the vice
president?
Yes, welcome to Nigeria.
Wow.
It's beyond that. Akpabio is playing with our intelligence. He says one thing today. He says one thing today, and tomorrow he's saying another thing. Initially, he said he knows Nigerians are suffering, but it won't stop them from buying the jet for the president. And this is why people will continue to stand behind Labour. So when you say we do not have money to pay, it doesn't augur well. It doesn't augur well. How would you say, okay, we spend money lavishly? 2023, wife of the president said that she had to beg wife of the vice president for 2 million naira. According to Vanguard, she had to beg 2 million naira. 2024, wife of the president is giving out $100,000 to an organization in Sierra Leone. So how did it happen? What happened? You are begging 2 million in 2024. You are giving out $100,000 from where? So we spend money lavishly, and of course it cannot be accounted for. So this is Nigeria for you. Now the question you asked, why do we need 6 aeroplanes? Are they flying these 6 aeroplanes at the same time? Do we have convoys in the airspace?
Maybe Nigerians can invent that.
It's possible, right? So it's laughable. Why do we need 6 aeroplanes? 6 aeroplanes, and maintaining them is a problem.
Of course.
And you're spending billions to maintain them. Now you've come to the realization that, okay, after spending over 100 billion for maintenance, you're not coming to the, okay, we need a new one. Okay, why not sell off the 3 you want to sell?
Probably get 2.
Sell off the 3, or even sell off everything and buy 2.
Just 2 is enough. If this one is not in good shape, use the other one.
Can the president and the vice be out of the country at the same time?
Even if they are going, are they not 2 persons? Both of them should go.
What will happen? What would even happen? Let's look at what will happen if they go through commercial flights. Won't they get to their destination? So we can't. If you are saying we do not have money, let us know. Let us, in your actions, in the way you spend the money. Let's understand that you do not have this money.
To agree to what you are saying when you are spending money like this.
And you are saying you do not have money. So it doesn't speak well of us as a nation. We do not have financial prudence at all in this present one. We thought we would send the worst last administration.
Well, let's quickly see what we have on the front page of the Daily Independent this morning. The banner headline, rising debt, interest payments may push Nigeria towards debt default. That is the big story in front of the Daily Independent. And up there, we have NAS extend implementation of 2023 Budget Supplementary Appropriation Act to December 31st. Surveillance operatives uncover oil bunkering camps, perpetrators in Bayelsa State. Tinubu asks governors to meet food security target, rolls out construction program. Food crisis, federal government, states distribute free fertilizers to farmers. We won't allow Tinubu suffer Malawian Iranian president fate. This is coming from Akpabio, okay? Says president hasn't requested approval for any presidential jets. I don't even understand what these papers are saying this morning. And then Edo Ondo givers, we won't allow anybody to snatch, run with our victory. This is coming from PDP. Troops repel attack on Ebonyi police station, kill 5 terrorists, kill 2,245 terrorists, rescue 1,993 kidnapped victims in second quarter. EFCC boss orders arrest of officers for assaulting hotel worker. Cut governance costs, top aircraft purchase, Ozokome tells Tinubu. Minimum wage, less pay according to our ability. This is coming from the southern governors. NEC approves board members for NDPHC. And quickly, the Nation newspaper comes next. Tinubu rallies governors on massive food production. And then with the rider on the read, the president backs urgent result-oriented agri plan. Federal government slashes CNG conversion cost by half. Surveillance operators uncover oil theft camp. And then we can see the renewed Hope Legacy Road Infrastructure Project. That's the big picture we are seeing in the front page of the Nation newspaper. I can't analyze all this now,
but at least you can see that something is happening in Abuja. There's a line that connects Abuja to Calabar, rather, and then from Yobe down to Lagos, and then taking it to Calabar. Something big is definitely brewing in Calabar.
Yeah, I think they are going to open seaports in Calabar or something, because I don't understand why this attention on Calabar. Okay, so and then let's also see the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Tinubu governor silent on minimum wage. We're still talking about the minimum wage, and the right down there it says the federal government approves 370 billion naira for state FCT to buy buses, 50,000 naira for 100,000 families in each state. I don't know whether Ajulu will even receive this one. And then we still have. I wonder. So these are the stories we have in these papers this morning. So over to you, GK.
Well, following the NEC meeting, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? It was expected that this issue of minimum wage would be put to rest, but there seems to be no end in sight. And Labour has also insisted they cannot take, at least Labour has shifted ground severally, coming from 600,000, and now they are talking of 200, either 200 or 250,000. So it behoves on federal government to also shift ground. Another thing is, much as you might want to deny it, the Nigeria Governors Forum seems to be so powerful that they have twisted the president into retracting from some of his statements. Now the president is saying he has to discuss with some stakeholders. And what are the stakeholders? The governors and
probably senators, ministers,
private sectors as well. But the governors mainly, because they are the ones who would, if they say no, in fact they become so powerful. One would have, when that forum was established, if you sit back and look at what has happened over the years, you begin to wonder what they've been able to achieve since their establishment. So I know if not for anything, federal government would have reviewed the amount they propose. 62,000 naira is not feasible at all. But the problem is with the governors. As we speak, some states are still paying 18,000 naira. Some are not even paying the 30,000 naira. And now they vehemently refuse to pay 62,000 naira. They are saying that they can, most states, of course, are saying they cannot pay 62,000 naira. So one would have thought that NEC meeting would have resolved or come to a conclusion and say, okay, this is how much we are going to give to Labour. But no, the president has to sit back and wait for the governors to come up with whatever. And you can see what the governors are proposing. From the southern governors, of course, each state should pay according to their ability. So what are your abilities? If you begin to look at their data, some of them will tell you they have the easiest or the best ease of doing business and policy in their state. They will tell you they've been able to generate so and so amount of IGR. Okay, now pay minimum wage. They're not telling you we do not have the resources. So it begins to you begin to ask the question of the data they've been reading out. How accurate has it been?
Because so it's not reflecting.
It's not reflecting. It's not about you telling us since I came in 1 year or 100 days I've been able to do this and everything. Show it, let people see. I do not believe in figures. Yet until the common man is able to buy food in the market and pay less for transportation, that's when he will believe that okay, things have really turned around.
Yeah, still talking about this minimum wage, and then the president still telling the governors or taxing the governors in order to help into in the area of food production. Now, I think there's a contradiction in that aspect, because now you're doling out 540 billion to help alleviate hardship in Nigeria, and at the same time you're telling governors in order to help increase food production in their respective states, going as far as even sharing fertilizers to farmers in those states. Now, the question I'm asking the federal government, or rather I'm asking you, is how won't you rubber stamp it on the state governors to have a consensus agreement on reaching a minimum wage, meeting the labor and then what you generate from your state, just like you rightly said? Can't the federal government, impose it on the state governors in order to arrive at this, so as to take away the burden from federal government itself?
The federal government has not been able to tell people to hands off local government funds. How much more? The federal government is an entity on its own. The state government is also an entity.
Because this 300 and something billion that you're sharing to these state governors, most of them will embezzle it. Most of them will embezzle it, and there will be no records of it.
For a fact, they will embezzle it. But what would have expected is the thing is the major problem, because we keep chasing shadows. The major problem is insecurity. There are communities in the north where, in Benue, bandits have told their residents to pay tax. And these taxes are running in millions per month. How did they get it? And then Benue is an agrarian state. So what we need is security. Provide security for farmers. Let there be security everywhere. Okay, we can't even protect ourselves, but we are sending troops to Guinea-Bissau to go for peacekeeping. So we do things in a manner that is laughable, for God's sake.
Well, I think if you ask me, I feel just like you said, number one, make sure that we are secure in this country, tackle insecurity. And then, to all this money they are doling out to 100,000
families.
They should just push it into agriculture.
But
and then we start producing, say, like in the States now, maybe do something like where you have farms and you employ people that will be managing them, you pay them and all that. Instead of sharing this 50,000, you share 50,000, will you share it for the rest of their life? Will you give it out to them for the rest of their life?
That is the issue. Like I said, we refuse to look at the main issue on ground. Tackle insecurity, for God's sake, so that farmers can go to a farm,
yes,
and produce and distribute.
Then create the roads where they will take this food to the.
We can't. It's not magic. We can't. Giving our money will not.
It doesn't solve anything.
The thing is, it's a conduit pipe for them to be able to siphon whatever they want to siphon.
Exactly.
We are told that subsidy is gone. We are told that subsidy is being paid for. The subsidy is being paid for, running into trillions. But yet we keep buying fuel at 800 naira. So what happens to the money being used in paying the subsidy? Where has it gone to? In whose pocket is it entering? Nobody is asking the question.
Well, I guess this is where we are rounding up on the show this morning, and we want to say a very big thank you to you, Ejike Bata, for being part of Press Review.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it on Press Review. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we still have other things for you. Stay with us.